just start and wait if somebody will be joining me or not. So today I am indoor doing live from my home. And of course, I'm not in India when I'm saying that I'm at home because it's getting too cold outside. And on top of it, I think I'm feeling a little bit feverish. Anyways, so I thought maybe I can go live and talk about how November looks like in Europe or in Germany. And then, yeah, I can share with you and also make this video a little bit more interesting and exciting in case you are watching it later on. So let's talk about the month November. But before, of course, getting into it, it's also important for me to highlight that it's quite interesting. The first time I came to Germany and having been lived in, hello, I can see one person joined, whoever it is. Hi. So yeah, I'm live from the home, so I'm just going to talk about the seasons, months, and how things look like in November living in Germany. So when I came to Europe, it was quite surprising for me. Like, of course, we experience different weathers and season, sometimes even in a day. But then in from January to December, if you are living here, you will be experiencing totally different seasons. So for example, in January, it's more like cold, freezing. And then as you step into March and April, the season gets a little bit warmer, but it's still fluctuating. So sometimes we also face like snow a little bit or even some like storms or like hailing. And then, of course, as you move then slowly, steadily to May, it's more like a spring season that you will be experiencing. And then finally, end of June and July is when the season gets too hot. Sometimes the season here, in terms of like summer, is quite hot. Then you move further in August and September. It's quite a good season to go around in Europe and travel as far as you can and as much as you could before we step into the cold weather. And as you are in August and September, after it, you will start noticing the leaves are changing. It's the season of autumn, and you will see a lot of colorful leaves and sceneries around you. So it's quite a beautiful time. And in the month of November, it's when things starts really getting cold. So at the moment, the weather is really fluctuating in terms of like you just have 3 hours or 4 hours of hot weather, which is mostly during the afternoon time. And then you move ahead and in the night you can even experience like minus 10 or something. So this the weather is quite fluctuating, and you need to of course be well equipped in terms of your clothings. Then yeah, after this, so at the moment as we are end of November, we are actually heading towards more like a Christmassy season, which means that we are going to see more and more festive moods and things in the stores and also online. You will be seeing lots of offers and many things happening as well. So, for example, at the moment we are having like a Black Friday. So, this Friday it was Black Friday, which means that it's the time when you can really expect a lot of offers on internet. So if you want to buy something, you can always do it, especially at this time in on Black Friday. And in on Monday next week we will be having Cyber Monday, which is like an extended offer from the Black Friday, and we will be seeing more offers in terms of electronics. So if you're interested in buying something more like electronic related, then keep your eyes open. Hello. So yeah, so there are these offers that are happening at the moment, but at the same time, since we have a Christmas next month, we are also having like lots of market. So there is like Christmas market being set out, so you can go for a drink or even having some food. Um, I'm not a sales girl. I'm just talking about the November in Germany. But yeah, I used to be a salesperson once upon a time. So maybe that's why you felt like that. But it's a good joke. Yeah, because I just thought that maybe I can share and give an update on what's happening in November in Germany, or if you're living in Europe, what's going on. So just to give like a bit of update here. Then after that, hello, Dilse Desi. Thanks for joining this live session. So yeah, so at the moment the Christmas market is all set up, and there are like food stalls. There is some like rides you can also. It's dude, if you are sales girl, I will buy you. I think you should buy only the products. Okay. So yeah. So at the moment there are like Christmas market and there are like food stuff and rides. You can really go and have those experiences. You can also have like get together with your friends. No. Okay. This which city is best to get job in Germany on job seeker visa? I would suggest that you should be in cities like Munich, which is the best one, but of course it's also expensive. Berlin and Frankfurt. These are the cities, and I have seen many people having got their job, like in Frankfurt, for example, and also in Berlin, like many people are speaking even English, so it's quite a good place. If you're looking for like job, and these are like the places, for example in Berlin there are like so many startups as well, and they are like more open-minded to have more international people in their organization. So yeah, these are some of my suggestions, but in any ways it's always good to live in the metro cities because you have more opportunities to network. And also, so okay, it's dude is really asking questions, sensitive questions, which city is good for honeymoon of you and me. So I think nowhere. Okay. So you're talking about like the job situation and also to network. I would suggest that Berlin, Munich, and Frankfurt are like the best ones you should be going for. Yeah, what else is happening at this point? So we will be moving into the Adventszeit, which is the week before the Christmas, which means that people at the shops they are buying like candles, and every week on Sunday they are lighting one candle at a time until the time of Christmas. And we are also like, there are people buying lots of advent calendar as well at this point. Advent calendars are like those postcards or even like gifts that you can give each other and can open one at a time each day, and you get some surprises. So you could say like the Christmas is in the air at the moment, and lots of offerings are there in the stores, and you can really find lots of interesting items there. And people are also trying to buy gifts earlier on so that they can get it on discount, which they can exchange later on during the Christmas season. So yeah, this is what's happening. And also the other thing we observe is that people at the workspace, they're trying to wrap up so that they can really go ahead and be in the Christmas mood and holiday mood. So we usually see that this time of the year in the workplace, it's quite busy because people want to wrap up and go for their vacation, plan for it, and of course buy gifts and spend time with their family. This is Desi. If anyone landed on the job seeker visa and any kind of job he find there, can he apply for resident permit or not? Definitely you can apply for the residence permit, but then it takes time, right? Like you cannot simply apply for the I don't know if you meant by resident permit the PR, permanent resident, because that takes time for you. So of course, if you landed up into the job, you can do that. So what's there? Okay, 11 a.m. I'm happy to see you again for this live session. So thanks for joining us. I just thought to like give you update on what's happening in November, how it looks like living in Germany, in Europe, and how it feels like. Mostly what I was telling that everything is more Christmassy. There are lots of offers happening at the store because we are going through the Black Friday season where there are lots of offers on internet. So if you're living in Europe, I would highly suggest that go and check out onto the website. This is the month and the time to really buy things, and especially that we are facing the inflation. And I expect that going forward, the inflation will be getting more worse. So let's see how it all goes. But I have heard that there are some offerings from the government. They are offering like 200 euro for students that are enrolled as of now from 1st December and until next year. They can actually register for such thing until 1st September next year. So if you are student here, you can apply for it, and they are still figuring out the platform where they would like to, where you can actually go and register yourself. So A11 AM, how hard is it to get the wait is it to get the student accommodation in Munich? So it's really hard in Munich. What I have heard people have done is that you should not stop. It's like, of course, you should be applying for accommodation quite in advance. So I have heard from people like really applying 4 months in advance. And also, like, even at the countryside, for example, I was looking for accommodation in the countryside. There are lots of offerings, so you can of course check in the Facebook group. That's much more faster to get accommodation, because there are people as students really posting about Wege, student dorms, and there you can really see more offerings. So I would suggest that keep an eye on the Facebook. There are some accommodation that comes on to like real time. They don't really wait. So sometimes there are offerings available for the same month or just the next month. So you can still get accommodation in just very short time. But then usually what I heard is that people are really applying for accommodation 4 months, 3 months in advance. And in Munich, it's quite challenging and it's quite expensive in Munich. So I would suggest that you should keep an eye open like 4 to 3 months. Check on these websites, especially the university website. They always list down all the important website where you can really apply and not get into the scam. So one thing I have always noticed that if you are going through like Facebook type of area, like places, sometimes it gets really difficult to not to be like safe, because I feel some of these postings are scam. But if you're going through this university website, there those links are more verified and more authentic dorms are listed there. So that's like my pro tip there. Like, always go through the university website. In every city you have universities, and they always used to list down there the university in the university website what accommodations are available at the city level. Of course, this accommodation doesn't mean it's provided by university. They are mostly, like you could say, available to any university or students in that area, and not really attached to the university. Second thing is about Wege, where you can really get easily more accommodation offerings. So, but it sometimes could be fishy and scammed. So I would not suggest you to like really pay anything in advance, because there are lots of Wege where which is like quite fishy. And I would not suggest you, like, always try to find student dorm. They are much cheaper, and then go for the Wege, because Wege, it's very fishy there. Um, can we apply before getting admit from university for student accommodation? Definitely, you can always like try to connect with people, apply for it. But then I would suggest that once you get offer from university, you should be then going ahead and if you want to do payment or whatever, do that then, because usually when you're applying for the student dorms especially, they will ask you the university letter, so the offer letter from the university. So theoretically, like for Wege, you can of course apply, but at the end they need your offer letter, right? So it all depends on that. Then there are questions again here. um They'll say they see no work permit. Yeah, definitely. So they'll say they see, as I mentioned to you, if you have a decent job, you have already got it, you can of course apply for it. Then on job seeker visa, any kind of part-time jobs are allowed or not? So no, you cannot do that, because you need to really you are there under the job seeker, so you should be just applying and getting the full-time role, unless you get some roles that are there in Germany which are not official. Of course you can do those type of roles, but I would suggest not to do it. Then good, I can see you both, and thanks for liking it. Yeah, so what else I have to talk to you about? So yeah, these are some of the updates. There are some privileges being given by the governments at the moment, so students can really get 200 euro, which is not a lot. But I have seen some data that at the moment in Germany, around last year, students have faced, like 40% of the students were facing poverty because of this pandemic and difficulties in getting job. So I really suggest you, the way like we are struggling with inflation and the job market is more like looking like, I would really suggest that if you are not in Germany, or if you are in Germany already, try to learn German language, because that's really going to get you much more privilege in terms of like job application, or even get into some more higher profile. Apart from this, I have posted many videos on the saving tips, but of course there are more saving tips video that I would like to post. Maybe I would be creating some shorts video with some saving tips. So I would suggest that if you're coming here, try to always stay low key, not to waste a lot of your money. I remember having an expense of maximum 500. So my room was costing only 230, and my monthly expense in terms of grocery was 150 or something like that, so was not a lot. So I was really like 400, right, and maximum 500 in case I want to travel somewhere in the Europe, or I have to buy like a camera or something which I have to really take on loan. So I have, you could say that the expenses are like 500, and if you're working part time, which you can actually work like 20 hours per week as a student, and during the holiday season you can work 40 hours, you can easily get around 780 per month. So you can survive in that way. But then sometimes you have to also understand that it's very easy, and I've seen many YouTube videos really talking about it, that oh, we can do like student job and also do these studies at the same time. I can agree to that to certain extent, but imagine if your education, like the studies you are doing, is in German language, it will just going to make your life much tougher, because here the examinations, I remember, even if my modules were like in English, examinations were just for 60 minutes. And if I'm writing it in another language, my brain has to really work in different level. And I'm not sure if I will be able to complete my question paper in 60 minutes. So it's quite difficult, right? So I would suggest that if you are here and you are want to work like even part time, it can be a little bit challenging. I have heard some people who even failed in examinations, and they cannot even stay in Germany because they actually failed twice, and which means that I actually came across two students. So they actually have to leave and go to another university, like private university, so they can always transfer their credits there to the private university. The other option is that they have to otherwise leave, or they have to really give a good explanation to the university why they were not able to pass. So you have to make sure that whatever you do in terms of even part-time job or not, you are able to really do well in your examinations and in your modules. So something you need to consider as well. There are some chats. Let me check that. Um, Da, da, da. Okay. Um, can we apply before getting? Okay, so how would we apply 4 months in advance, as you said? So you can definitely apply for accommodations which are coming up in the Vegas, right? So that you can do. For me, when I have applied for in Germany, I was just lucky because I applied 2 months in advance, and I was lucky enough to have still had some space left in the student dormitory, so I was still able to get into the dorm, which is a student hostel. But yeah, in the Vegas you can always apply, and if I'm saying like Vegas, like the shared apartments offered by the students, and they usually advertise it in the Facebook group where you can really apply for it. um, Anirban Majumdar. Hello. Thanks for joining this session. I see that it's the first time you're joining it. So usually on the Sundays, I go live. Um, Chef Rawat Kitchen. Hi. I don't know why you said okay, but hi. Okay. Perfect. So could you help me PhD positions in Germany, German university? So Anirban Majumdar. So of course you have to always see in the universities and in the job indeed if such positions are opening. You can also in the university website see the names of the professors and can really directly email it to them. I would suggest that for PhD there are a lot of jobs opening. Usually, Germany compared to the other countries in Europe, they really give importance if you're having a master's degree or even PhD. So I would say that for PhD people, like you have lots of scope here. So for my suggestion, if I'm just in India and I would like to get a job as PhD, so I would go ahead and write an email to the professors in those areas. So I have to, of course, Google search for these universities, and there is always an email ID onto the website. And I would like to send them an email, my work, and just check with them. So that would be my proposal to you. But in general, I've seen that there are, in future I will be posting some videos on the career fair. So if you are in Germany and you are so okay. So there are career fairs happening if you are in universities, and usually the setup is not like India. It's not that university is organizing something, it's not that university is owning accommodation or something. When these things happen, it's like at city level. So there are career fairs like job messe in German language, and they will, which is translated in English as career fair, and they are available like whenever they are being organized, they are going to post posters, advertisement, booklets, and they will be posting it across the city. So you will, it's very hard to miss it on. And if you're in Germany already, you can attend those job fairs and can really talk directly one to one to companies, and there are consultancies firm, and there are also some organizations which are actually giving jobs to the PhD and for fellowship as well. These are some different type of setup and organization. They are also attending these type of career fair, and it was my first encounter there when I got to really enlighten in this area that something like this exists. So if you're in Germany, you can also attend job messe, or maybe plan your travel like during this time when there are like career fairs happening. And I'm sure that if you Google search, you can really get exactly the dates when it's happening. The last time when I've attended, it was in the month of March or April when such events take place. Then there are some chats here again. Okay. Desi, can you suggest any place near Berlin where expenses are cheap and getting English speaking jobs are easy? I would suggest that you should be like seeing in the outskirt of Berlin if there are some places that you can really find as a cheap accommodation. So for example, I remember one of my friend who got job in Frankfurt, but he was living in still outskirt, because in Frankfurt, for example, if you're getting a room, it can cost, just one room, it can cost without furnitures like 800 per month, and probably the prices has increased now. But then this is the reason he actually to, because he came here with the partner, and therefore he wanted like a separate place, not just a room, and he has to really find it in outskirt of Frankfurt. So whenever you are applying for accommodation, you can always see that which location it is, and probably the accommodation with less prices, they will be located a little bit outside the city, and you have to really then commute with the train. So that I would suggest that you should be able to open yourself like in terms of like commute. So you should be able to commute easily to the city, but to be more international and not face so much of like issues, I would suggest that to find job within Berlin, but you should live a little bit outside so you can really pay your rent and bills and everything. But if you are also thinking to like get a job outside, like in outskirt of the city, then it's just difficult and you might not even get so many opportunities. For example, I was living in Mannheim, which is a more student dominated city, and there were not so many jobs despite of like KPMGs and all the Deloitte and all the consultancy firms over there, but they were like more German speaking. And rather I've seen my friends and entire in the entire hostel, so we were like 90 students living in one dormitory, so we were really talking with each other, and I got to know most of them were really working in SAP, which you have to again travel by the train to reach there, and then the rest were getting jobs in Frankfurt, in Lufthansa, or in the other firms. So yeah, so in that way, you can say that you have to still travel by train. And if you are getting jobs in Frankfurt or in these bigger kind of companies, you will be better off because they pay a little bit more. And also, your English, in terms of like English job, it's just much more easier to get jobs in the international firms, right? Okay, there are some questions coming in here. 11 a.m. What do you think of German taught master's program? I would suggest that, so all of my friends, they were doing the German taught, sorry, English taught programs. Even my German friends were in the English module. And of course, the reason was because they wanted to improve their English language and be more competitive. But then all of my friends were from English module, and they usually say that it's quite difficult because you have to really think in a, your mind also, of course, have to remember what you have learned, and at the same time reproduce it on the paper in the German language. So you, by default, you won't be so skilled compared to the German people, because even the English modules are not so easy, because you have to really remember and stick to the point, and you have to really solve the entire questionnaire, like, sorry, the question paper in very limited time, like just 60 minutes. Like even German people who are studying there since like 2 years or 3 years, because you can really prolong your masters up to 4 years, they were really, they got even afraid, they thought they will also fail. And it's quite traumatizing, like if you're failing and there are only limited amount of time you can afford to fail. So sometimes even the English modules could be really challenging. I did, it was my second master's, and still I found it quite difficult. And really, you have to be like really, it's like fastest finger fast. So in that way, things can get really tough. But I do remember, like in my case, I finished my module, all my modules within the defined period. So I never prolonged it. So maybe I made my life difficult by myself, because I remember attending some classes, like I took around 8 modules, which actually in reality you can take only 4 or 6. But I wanted to learn more, and I took like around 8 or 9 modules, and I was just hopping some classes. And I was like hopping. Sometimes I was having same 2 classes happening at the same time. And if I will find one class boring, I will just jump onto the other one. So I guess at the end, I made my own life difficult, but I wanted to really learn everything so that I can be at best possible situation to get a job. But that's not could be that, but that could be a wrong way, a wrong approach, because you need to have a good balance for both things. You should have like academic experience, but at the same time also work experience. So I would suggest that take the minimum amount of modules that's required by your university. Make sure that you're able to pass your examination. If you think that the modules is not compulsory and it's optional, and you feel that this module is like easy, go for it. Don't think that I want to take the difficult one, right? Because it can really make your life tough here. We already have many other things that makes our life tough, and then these things just add to it. The other tip I would give you is that there are some modules by university which are run by in collaboration with the companies. So for example, there were some modules I was opting was organized by SAP, and it's one of the biggest recruiter that we had for that university, and SAP in general is quite big. So the 2 modules I took was in collaboration with SAP. I also visited their company and also one of the CSR firm as well during this module. And I would suggest that also go for those type of module, because it really helps you to become more employable later on. Then there are so many questions. Okay, so thanks everyone for your questions. I can see there are new people joining my live session. So hi everyone. Today I'm just at home dialing in because it's getting quite cold outside, and it gets dark soon. So winters are dark here. Yeah, okay. What do you think of German tone? Okay, then Mayank Sharma. Hi Mayank. It's the first time I see you on my live session. So hi, and thanks for joining in. What are you pursuing in Germany? So I have pursued my master's in management in Germany, and now I'm working in Germany. So, and in between, I also did some certification course as well, because you have to always keep up to your keep improving your skill set. So you can ask anything to me at this point. Brandon Chung. Hi, Brandon. You are also first time joining my live session, so thanks for joining. So I was just giving update on how life looks like in November, and it's my first time dialing in from my home. And yeah, so thanks for your question. Thank you for all the information. I'm currently working towards applying for October 23 intake. Though help from your videos and other creators. So thanks and hope you are doing well. Thank you so much, Brandon. Let us know from where you are dialing in, which part of the world or India. Would be just nice to know my target audience. And also if you have any suggestions for videos from whoever is attending this call right now, you can also let me know. How are the A11 AM? How are the exams in masters? First of all, I really like your channel name A11 AM. How are the exams in masters? So as I said, so there are some so the exams can be divided in two ways. So there are exams, some of the credits will be more practical. So there could be some presentation, there could be some on-site events. On-site event, what I meant, you will be going to some like companies or something, and there will be some on real time, there will be some assignment given to you, and at the end of the day you are presenting. So it's like a real time assessment happening. Sometimes there are some presentations which are based on case studies, so there are like some credits given to that, and it really helps us because sometimes you get like half, like most of your passing marks you just get it through these presentation and also on-site examinations. But there are some examinations in terms of writing. You have these, it's similar to like India. So you have like particular dates on which these examinations are happening. And of course, for each examinations, you have to register as well. So sometimes students, if they feel that they're not prepared for it, they don't register for that semester examination. So I would really suggest you that if you're not ready for it, don't give it. Otherwise, if you fail twice, you are gone. So yeah, so they register for it, and there are like examinations happening on specific date, and they will tell you that in which examination hall you have to be and where the examination is happening, and there they actually make you sit a little bit far so you don't cheat. And it's a big place like auditorium where it all happens. So I really suggest you to have everything, stationaries and supplies, everything with you in advance. Have check with your professor if the scientific calculators are allowed or not, because in some examination it's not even allowed. Then yeah, so you are on the day of examination. In terms of written examination, this is how it looks like. Some examination within the written scheme is like more, sometimes it's open book examination. They actually allow you to bring the book, but then it's so difficult because the questions are really like a case study base. So they really give you a situation or something and they ask you to reply, and you can really not get any answers on the book. So they're not really asking a definition, and they're asking you questions which really sum up the entire chapter. So you really don't find that answer onto the book. So there are exams which are like open book examination, but in reality that open book doesn't really help because in 60 minutes you can do nothing. You cannot open your books, you cannot solve it. Then in terms of the closed book, like where you have no books at all, so you of course write papers. So in terms of the question paper, how it looks like, so I would really suggest you that if you're coming to Germany, you go preferably try to find accommodation in the student dorm, because you can really network among like 90 students. For example, the student dorm I was living was with 90 students. It's like an empire, right? I can always knock someone's door and can get help on different things, be it to exam, health, or even where to buy what. And you can also get some secondhand items if you're living in such type of dorms. So for me, I mean, it could get a little bit messy in the dorms because there are so many people and there could be some fights happening as well at the same time. But then you can also get lots of help from them, and you can really knock doors. You can really also apply forms in the, so in the student dorm, you can also apply for president, vice president, like such type of roles. So though the idea of these type of role is that these people are actually organizing like events, get together, Christmas market tour, So you can also nominate yourself and can help you. It can, and also you can add those things in your CV that you were vice president or president and you were organizing events. So it's really helping you with your soft skills. Then, yeah, so coming back to your point, so what I would suggest you to do in terms of examination, and specifically if you're living in this type of dorm, you can really find out students who are also studying in the same university, and you can ask them that if they have some previous year question paper, or if you see that they are already giving exams, I would suggest that you be proactive and go and ask them what questions have been asked to them, how it looks like. So because some people don't even carry back their question paper, sometimes it's also not allowed. So I would suggest that have a good network with them, go and ask them that what kind of questions have came. So it really will going to help you later in the year, right? So within the questionnaire, how it looks like, the format, right? So as I said, the examination could be like for 45 minutes or even 60 minutes, or sometimes in rare cases is 1.5 hours. And so the paper is mostly like, sometimes could be set up in like multiple choice questions. Sometimes it could be set up like in a short answer. So could be multiple choice question or short answers. And then there will be long answer questions. Tips I would give you is that to always stick to what they're asking for and see how much marks is given to each question. Based on the marking, you elaborate or not. And in my case, I try to even like solve my question paper well in advance so I can really revise it, outline, highlight, do my best to get most out of it and like really score well. The second thing I would advise you is that to always attend the first and the last session of each module, because in the first session they will tell you the structure of the module, what will be taught, how the examinations will be marked, what credit and what assignments will be allocated, and how it will be distributed. Then in the last session, they will tell you, like the professor will be telling you that what kind of questions will be coming up in the examinations. So that really helps. And it can get really difficult if you rely on your friends or other students to tell you, because everyone is busy here. They have like several responsibility, they are working in 2 3 jobs, or even like they are coming from some other city. You will not going to get hold of them. So I would suggest to for sure attend the first and the last module of the university, so you can really stay up to date with what's happening. So that's my advice here if you want to score well in the examination. Let's see what other questions are happening here. I can really go on and on about this and how you can really score well in the examination. Sometimes there are questions professor tell you that they will not ask you, but in reality they can still ask you. I remember it happened with me in the brand management examination, where the professor has said they will not be asking any customer life value assessment related questions, and it came. So don't rely, because sometimes the question paper can be set by the professor or by their associate. So every professor here in the university, they always have like an assistant and associate, and sometimes they just take on their role. And they are not just looking like they are not really in sync with the professor, what they are really telling it in the classrooms. So yeah, sometimes such disaster can also happen. Moving forward, I have spoken a lot today. Brandon Chung. So thanks for another question, Brandon, here by you. Is 29 years old too old for MBA in Germany? Just trying to know average age of students here. Okay, Brandon, very good question. So just for everyone to know, in Europe in general, there is something called ageism, right? So you have racism, but there is also something called ageism, which means that people can discriminate you based on the age. And I guess it's not just in Europe in general, around the globe it can happen. I remember in India when I was studying my first master's, and there was a person, so I was like 21 or something at that point, and then there was a person in my classroom was 30 years old, and we were really not really talking to her, but it could be also advantage to have such people in your group, because that person already knows everything, so could be an advantage there. So I would say that, like, to straightforward answer your question, it's not too old here. Usually the age for MBA is like 31 to 35 or even plus, like even 40 years old people can be doing MBA, because the concept of MBA is that you need to always have around 5 or plus years of experience, so that when you're sitting within the other student colleagues, so-called colleagues there, because they're also working some organization, you are much better positioned to really come up with like in terms of case study. So if you're solving a case study, you are really able to really have a good contribution in the group. So really they actually select for the MBA courses much more elderly students, I would say. Like, let's say I never use the word old, I always say mature, because I think old is a terminology. We don't get old because of the numbers on our birthday cake, like the candles on our birthday cake. We get old because of our mindset. So I would say that let's call them as mature. So I would say that MBA as in 29 is still young. Here the MBA is being done by people like 31 plus or even like 40 plus, because it's mostly by people who want to switch their industry, or they want to really up level their skill set. So if they are feeling that they are stuck in their day-to-day role, they want to move into more executive CEO role, and that's when they want to do the MBA. So I would suggest that if you're going to MBA, have some more experience in your CV, because then you are able to more contribute to the discussions happening into the during the class. And also when you are applying for MBA courses, usually they don't select even if you don't have such experience. If you will go onto the website, usually for MBA, it's like 5 plus or some for good university. I'm not talking about universities which are not so popular in terms of like quality. So for all the universities which are more good quality, popular in Europe, they always ask for 5 plus years of experience in the for the MBA classes. And don't ever think about your age. I would say that there's nothing old or young. It's in your mind how you would like to really use your resources at that point of your life. So at this point of your life, if you think you're ready for it, just go for it. And I don't think there is like student look down to you here. They're here. I see there are people. I remember. So there was a person coming from, like, he was an accountant and he was like 42 years or something, and he was still doing masters in management, not even MBA. So he was in one of the module, because sometimes, so just to give you a structure, okay. So usually when the classes are organized, they don't see that whether you are in masters in management or you're in MBA. So some of the modules are organized in together. So there can be some classes for economics or accounts, which are where you will see even young people and even masters bachelor student together sitting in one place. And because of this entire mixed up, you will not have this discrimination in your mind, because you are just more open. And other than this, I've also seen, because most of the universities in Germany are public, there will be also people who are very old and they just want to learn more, and they're just sitting in the back of the class, want to just study. So I've seen some people like even of 50 years old or even maybe retired, they're just sitting behind and just listening, because they're interested in to know about marketing, for instance. So there's nothing young or old. That's my advice. And as you know, like as I said, they won't even choose you if you're too young for MBA, because MBA is done by more mature people. Let's go forward here. What questions I have? So I have missed out one of the questions. So what do you think, 11 a.m., what do you think of German taught master's program? I would suggest, and through my, okay, so whatever I'm telling you here is not just because of my own experience. As I said, I have lived with these 90 students in my dormitory. So it's the combination of what I have heard from my friends as well. So I would suggest that doing masters is really worth, because in Germany, compared to other countries, they really value having master's degree over the bachelor's degree. So first of all, master's is important. Talking about the masters in Germany, I would suggest that it's quite good, because every university in Germany has a quite good standards in terms of quality. They give you tools, what you have, what you should be learning as a master's student. They are making the entire education more practical, but then at the same time, it's up to you how you're taking advantage of it, how you are interacting with the guest lecturers. So sometimes there are guest lecturers from Deutsche Bank, for example, and they are like coming to tell you like just for a day. So there are people coming from SAP, McDonald's, and then it's up to you how you're networking, how you're getting into the internship with them, how you are building connection, how you're adding them into the LinkedIn. So usually these, I would say that the master's taught program in Germany, they are just giving you tools, and it's up to you how you are taking advantage of it and using it to your most advantage. And it's not like India where you are getting a placement afterwards. Those things doesn't exist here. So that's my take. So I would say that it will make you for sure more mature in terms of independent, and it's up to you. Like really make each day count, right? Whew, let's move forward. I see many people coming and joining. So thanks for joining this session. Um, let's move on to the next question here. Um, okay, so I hope Brandon, you have got your reply here. And just to talk about just so average age of students here, you will also find students doing masters are like around 25 to 27. So this is the average, and mostly people will be in the bracket of 27, like 26, 27, because they like to like take it slow. I remember some people also did their bachelor's for like after 6 years. They completed it after 6 years. Some complete their masters in 4 years. So you can really prolong your masters and bachelors. So you will see in Germany, and that was like one of the culture shock I found. There were more people doing masters. They were like mature and more at the lower bracket of their age. And they were not, I hardly found anyone at the age of like 21 or something like that. It's too young here for like master's program. Then Abhijit, okay, so I will just say Abhijit. Hi, thanks for joining my live session. It's the first time you are joining my live session, so welcome. I am coming there for MBA in December. That's cool. So congratulations, Abhijit. Let me know which university you are going to come, and it would be just helpful for others who are in this call, so they can just stay. You can have your own community here, right? You can talk to each other and can ask questions. So yeah, let us know which university you are joining, and congratulations on your enrollment. Good luck with your MBA. I'm sure it will be really nice experience. Then Abhijit, again, I'm not getting accommodation in Berlin. Could you please help? So my question to you is that did you check the Facebook community or Facebook page? Because that's where you have plenty of accommodations being available there. Otherwise, you have to go and look into Airbnb for a short term period. I have heard so many stories about accommodation. People like even slept in the bench for a day outside in the park. So I would not suggest that. So please look into the Airbnb. Please look into the Facebook page, because now the Facebook is it's much more mature compared to when I have came here in Germany. Rishipa saying hi again. Thanks for joining this session. How are you feeling? So it's getting cold here. And just to like, I always feel nice having this conversation here with the community, just to understand that who is there watching my videos. It just feels nice. I just feel nice that at least there is no camera here, right? Like I can really talk to you all. Maybe next time I should go live in collaboration. There is a live button now from Facebook. There is, sorry, from YouTube, there is a new feature through which I can actually get live together with more people. So I'm seeing that YouTube is really improving at this point. Friends, I want to come to Germany as a tourist. Rishipal, as I've spoken to you 2 weeks ago, I have gone and checked about the visa process. There is actually a website you can directly apply for the tourist visa over there. So maybe I can send you that link. So it's not so difficult. Like you have to just spend your money, right? Like as a tourist. So if you have money, it's very easy to be here as a tourist. Um, so Abhijit, are you Berlin? That's cool. Okay, so as you have already mentioned, Abhijit, that you are not able to get accommodation. So yeah, you will be in Berlin, and I'm sure you will be able to even find jobs later on, because Berlin is just full of startups, and they even speak English, and it's quite an happening place. Like Berlin is totally different than the rest of the Germany. Then Rishipal Singh, friend, are you in university hostel? No, not now. I'm not in the university hostel, but previously I was living in the university dorm because that's the safe haven for you students. So university dorm is my first priority. Whoever coming, look into each and every university dorm listed under the university webpage and just go for it. Then, Brandon, is it difficult to get MBA admission without GMAT? I can complete it, but working for 5 years, I have lost touch with studies. So, wanted to know without GMAT, what are the chances? So, Brandon, thanks for your question. You can always look into the DART. There are always different qualifications what they are needing, and it also depends, right? Like, are you looking for going to do the MBA in Germany, or you're looking to go even do in some other universities? So what I know is that there are even universities like INSEAD or even EDEC in France, for instance. They don't need GMAT score. They need more of your work experience. But I know, for example, in the Mannheim University MBA, firstly, it cost a lot. So MBA is not free. So you also have to check that in so the MBA will not be free in Germany. And you can, of course, check all these details in the DAAD. So daad.de. You can always check there on their website all the qualifications. And so you have to always ask yourself that which university you want to go through. If it's in Germany, keep in mind that it's not free. It will be rather very expensive. Second is that probably it will need your GMAT score. And secondly, if you are not able to pass the GMAT score, so I would suggest that go, and there are some other universities where you can also do the MBA, and they don't need GMAT. They need your experience, they need your motivation letter, and they want to see that how good. So most of the universities for MBA, they also look for you that to see like how diverse is your background, because usually what they also look for is that they want a bunch of people as a student studying in their classroom which has a different background, and they can challenge each other, they can bring some new ideas, different perspective during the discussion, and that's how you can really learn from each other, right? So they really want to have build this type of environment, and for this purpose, if your motivation letter is quite good, you for sure you might be in for many MBA universities in Europe. So yeah, so look into it. And if I would suggest that if you think like MBA, you are just want to do MBA to get a job or something, you can also reconsider and think of doing some other masters as well. So for example, you can also do the masters that I did if you want to. And I think like if you're not ready for it MBA, you can also take like some other masters program as well. But what is important is that not to waste your time, and get into whatever university you can get into, and also depends on it, like, right, if you are willing to invest 42,000 euro for mass MBA, or you want to go invest into free education, which is more like masters in management. Because I know, for example, MBA in Mannheim University is like around 40,000 euros, so it's quite expensive. Of course, then you need to apply for some scholarship and all if you can get through it. So yeah, this is it. There are other questions now coming up. Let's see what's here. Yes, I have seen your email, so maybe I will send you the link of this YouTube video where you can see the process, you can see the website through which you can apply for the Shenzhen visa, because in the Europe, so there is no visa just for Germany. As a tourist, you have to apply for the Shenzhen visa, which will be applicable for the entire Europe. So you don't have to just visit Germany, you can also travel other parts of the Europe as well with this visa. So you have to apply for the Shenzhen visa. So whenever you're Google searching, search for the Shenzhen visa. And the other ways, of course, you have like spouse visa, tourist visa, job seeker visa. There are many other things, dependent visa. There are so many other type of visas through which you are able to enter and come to Germany. What else is coming here? But I'm also noticing that now things are getting difficult. For example, for the bachelor student, they have now started compulsory as A2 level German language. So please do check about the German language skills as well. Whenever you're applying for visas, well in advance, what they're asking. Okay, perfect. As I see, there's no questions here. People left me, probably went to have some food. So I guess like this was a perfect conversation that we had today. It was 55 minutes I've been talking. So thanks everyone for joining. I will now go and make some shorts TikTok videos. Not sure if the TikTok is working in India, but yeah, let me be ready for it. So I will now go and do some TikTok videos or um, shorts video on how you can save more in Germany. And I hope to talk to you in next week, same time. And hopefully I will be outside somewhere or yeah. Okay, so thanks for joining and talk to you soon then next week. Bye.